Yo, what's up, guys? In this video, we are going to understand emotions and how do you process them and the mistakes I did. And if you're an ENTP or a thinker in general, gonna fall in the same trap like I did. Using logic is very deceptive, indicious in that sense, because there's more to you than logic. And that's where emotion comes in. The first concept you're going to understand, the first thing you have to understand is how you work, not your MBTI type, but just how are you processing the world, your process. Let's have our dear old friend Bob. And here's how your perception works. So you have the action that the Bob does, which is caused by the thoughts that he's thinking, which is a result of an emotion he's feeling, which is a consequence of his belief system. So, this is the process that you are following to perceive what is in the world and understand and comprehend all that good stuff. Now, you might have noticed you try to change some aspect of you. I try to change some aspect of myself, but it's not a total change. You don't actually change totally. You change a little bit, and then you regress back. In psychology, they call it homeostasis. You're regressing back to your original state or your previous state. Now, you want to make a change and have that change be permanent. You don't want it to like go back or regress back. If you just try to change your action, but you don't change your thoughts that leads to the action, you're still going to perform the action and it's going to be hard, stuck. You'd feel stuck. You'd feel like, icky, yucky, or all that stuff because you're not changing the underlying thought that's causing the action. If your life seems like it's going downhill and you feel like you tried everything and nothing worked, then you need to try this because this is what worked for me. And the mistakes I did as an ENTP, the mistake I did as an ENTP, when you are overthinking stuff, you're in this logic realm. But there are other realms that you have to explore so that you can actually stop the suffering and the changes you make are everlasting. So, how do you make everlasting changes to your identity? Because any change to your identity is total. Alright, so how do you change your identity? So the first part of changing your identity is first becoming conscious of it. And once you're conscious of it, you get this choice that you can choose and you can choose to think differently or talk to yourself differently. And that process of just becoming aware, conscious of different aspects of yourself will help you create that change. However, as an ENTP, if you are an ENTP like me, you'll be stuck in the logic realm. You'll be stuck in your head. However, there are two other parts that you have to look into. This is not the only realm. We are living in an intersection of three realms. One is logic, others emotions, others belief system. And here's where you live. And if you only try to change the logic, it's not going to work because you're going to regress back, or what they call in psychology homeostasis. You don't have to change anything in this order. You can think of thought, emotion, and belief system as a triangle. All right, changing anything in any order will create a total change as long as you're overpowering the other stuff. So let's say you change your belief system and emotions associating with it, your thoughts has to change. Your thoughts doesn't have that much power to like regress back. However, if you only change your thoughts but your emotional state is still there and your belief system is also still intact and you're still believing what you're believing, the change wouldn't last. So our goal here, if you're an ENTP like me, you'd be stuck in this logic. So you have your thought, let's call this Holy Trinity, right? You have your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. So if you're an ENTP, here's where you're stuck. And you know how to speak this language very well. Logically, what makes sense? What doesn't make sense? Why it makes sense? Why it doesn't make sense? You understand this like this. It's easy. It comes second. It's in second nature. All right. However, emotions and belief system, they are different languages altogether. So for you to understand and speak this emotional language, you need to understand. You first need to learn the language. And the mistake I did, I had a very, very bad emotional vocabulary. So a lot of problems in my life, I just couldn't deal with it because I had such a bad emotional vocabulary. I couldn't even label the emotions. That's where I was. And probably if you're watching this and if you're a thinker like me, you wouldn't even have thought to label your emotions or even think that's important. All right. However, your thoughts and your, if you can speak these two languages, then you can speak the language of your belief system, which is the language of definitions. So, what definitions do you define this world to be or define yourself to be that is resulting in the certain emotion you're having, that's resulting in the thought that you're experiencing, and that's manifesting into an action? And an action is almost like a consequence of all three. That is why they say you can judge a person by how they act, because their action is like a culmination of their thoughts, emotions, and their belief system. Now, once that we have understood this, now let's learn the language of emotions. So, one thing you have to understand, the first point you have to understand about emotions. So, what emotions are actually trying to tell you is trying to tell you the change in distance between what is this moment now and your expectation. So let's say you expect to get a job, and here you are in front of the interview, not able to answer the question. You feel anxious. So the worse you feel, it says you're super away from your expectation. That's what the feeling worse means. Alright. And feeling good means you're super close to getting your expectation. Once you do get the expectation, nothing really will change. It's not like you'll reach like a peak. Let's say you want to buy a watch. How many times have you experienced this? You ordered something, you're really like waiting for the product to arrive. Yeah, I ordered a watch, really waiting for the product to arrive. The product arrives and you feel nothing. You feel like, meh, here's the product arrive. However, the anticipation is what caused the emotions. So your emotions are telling the change in distance or how close or far you are in reaching your expectations. So if you feel you're getting closer to reaching your expectation, you feel good. If you feel like you're going away from your expectation, you feel bad. So that's the first point you have to understand. Second point might sound super obvious, but it isn't, is that emotions have momentum to them. So emotions, they have momentum to them. So that's why they call it so if you study different fields, they call this spiraling. So either spiraling upwards or spiraling downwards. And the entire idea behind spiraling is that you are getting, because the emotions that you're experiencing has a momentum behind them. So let's say you're feeling guilty. It's not like you're suddenly going to feel better unless and until you take care of yourself. If you just leave it alone, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse if you don't act on it or if you don't take responsibility for it. So that's what I mean by momentum. It's not like, oh, you're feeling guilty now and you'll like glitch and then you like just feel happy and all the problems disappear. So you have to understand this. Building upon this idea of momentum, you have to understand that point A is that low vibration energy brings more low vibration energy. Point B is high vibration energy brings more high vibration energy. And by higher vibration energies, I do mean emotions in the sense that you're feeling happier, joy, courage, compassion. These are high vibration energies. However, feeling guilty, sad, depressed is low vibration energy. So if you're feeling that, so let's say you're feeling low vibration energy, something that's along the lower end of the spectrum. Shortly, I will show a picture that will make more sense. Low vibration energy will attract more of low vibration energy. High vibration energy will attract more of high vibration energy. And it's because of this momentum concept. Everything, emotion has momentum behind it. Here's a third point. You cannot use logic to understand emotion. You have to use your emotional or your gut feeling to kind of interpret emotion, because it is a different language that you're learning to speak. So using logic was just counterproductive, because it's like you're trying to learn French by speaking English. No matter how much English you speak to learn French, you'll never actually learn French unless you speak French. The emotions game is a game of awareness. Your goal isn't to like change it, choose it. You're just this entire game of emotions is just becoming aware of them, seeing what it's trying to tell you, and then choosing it once you understand what it's trying to tell you, the choices that you have in front of you. That's all you're trying to do. It's it's hard. The concept is easy. However, you have a lot of deceptive mechanisms to trick yourself to not becoming aware of your emotions. So you have a lot of deceptive mechanisms that causes you not to be aware of your emotion. In this entire process, the way you talk to yourself is going to be super important. And that is the language you actually speak. It's not a language of logic, this makes sense, that makes sense. It's more like I feel this, I feel that. Sixth one is your self-talk is going to be really, really important for this technique to work. Sixth point is you need to be really true and honest with yourself. So the moment you start lying to yourself just because it's the right thing to say or the right thing to do, you lose the. It's like you're revealing the trick. That's a bad analogy. Game over. The moment you're not true and honest with yourself, so if you're feeling angry, you have to sit and be like, you know what, I feel angry right now. Whatever your feeling is, when you say, or you're feeling guilty right now, that honesty needs to be there. So let's say you'll be like, oh, I know I shouldn't be feeling guilty about this. So you know what? Let me say, I have to like feel angry right now. So I'm angry right now because that feels better logically. That I won't lose my social reputation if I say I'm angry at someone compared to them saying I'm guilty or afraid. You have like notions like that. Stuff like that comes up. So you have to learn to realize to be completely true and honest with yourself. And here's the last one. I saved the best for the last. So here's the seventh one. You have to label your emotions. Remember, the game is about awareness, and then once you're becoming aware of it, seeing what choices you have in front of you and choosing the choice that excites you the most. That's it. So to understand the emotions, you have to learn how to label them. So this is what I use. So there's something called emotional wheel. So to label the emotions, we are going to use something called the emotions wheel. So you have this wheel here, looks pretty. I will put this link in the description and the comments below. What you do is you're feeling some sensation, right? So you tune into it, get out of your head, tune into your body. First of all, find where the feeling is. Is it in your chest, shoulders, throat, below your stomach, So find out where this feeling is and feel it, taste it like wine, How does it taste? Pleasant, not pleasant? I was lost. So you need to have amazing, you can't just say I feel bad. All right. So let's say you feel bad. So what do you mean by bad? Do you feel like stressed? Do you feel like busy? Do you feel like boring? So you have to like learn to like label these emotions to a category. Because one day I woke up and I'm like, I'm feeling this weird thing. I feel bad, right? And then I did this emotional wheel thingy and I was like, oh, I'm angry. Once you get awareness, oh, I feel angry right now, you can ask yourself then, okay, what am I angry about? Why does it make me angry? And you can explore that deeper. However, if you just say, I just feel bad, man, I don't know why I feel bad, there's nothing there, there's no information there to go off of and heal yourself. So step number one, you label your emotions using the emotional wheel. Heal into the sensation and go, I'm feeling critical, I'm feeling skeptical, I feel tense, I feel bitter, I feel furious, and you can label them, and then that process itself will start making you feel good. Because part of the anxiety would be not knowing, at least for me, not knowing what it is or what's messing with me. So knowing it at least will give you more certainty, and at least it feels like you have more control over it. You can talk about it with other people and more options open up. So this is the first step. So you label the emotion. This is where everything begins. This is where the journey begins. Prem, I get this, but I'm someone who likes to know why emotions, right? I'm not content with knowing what emotions, but why is it happen? Prem, tell me why stuff is happening. I got you. And once you're aware of the emotions, you become aware of the thoughts you're thinking, or you could, and also you could be aware of the belief systems you're believing. So I have this chart here by something called the Sedona method. So this person basically narrowed down everything to like three needs. One is wanting to be safe, secure to survive, wanting approval, and wanting control. And these are like different flavors of that. All right. So how do you identify apathy? So if you're feeling bored, you can't win, careless, cold, cut off, dead, defeated, depressed, demoralized. So you have like different emotions, right? So you have apathy, you have grief, you have fear, you have lust. So and you can notice abandon appears in grief and lust. You have anger, you have pride, then you have courageousness, acceptance, peace. So now let's go one by one. Apathy. What does apathy mean? Is a desire is dead because it's no use. We can't do anything and no one else can help. We withdraw and play weak so we won't get hurt. So the next one we are going to understand is grief. What is grief? The desire for someone to help us because we can't do anything. But we think maybe someone else can. We cry out for that someone to do it. So next one is fear. Fear is a desire to strike out, not doing so. Fear is desiring to strike out, but not doing so because we think they will hit us harder. The desire to reach out, but not doing it because we think we'll get hurt. And here's fear. So you have to like self-inquire and questions, and these are like very, very good leads to question. Anger, the desire to strike out, to hurt, and to stop the other one, but with hesitation. We might or might not strike out. So the entire root of anger comes from this desire of wanting to align the external reality with your internal belief system. So you're trying to align the external reality to your internal belief system so that you can feel at peace. So pride, the wish to maintain the status quo, unwilling to change or move, therefore the wish to stop others from movement as they might pass up. So let's move on to the higher end emotions, courage, the willingness to move out without fear or hesitation, to do, to correct, to change whenever needed, the willingness to let go, to move on. Courage is something you act despite of being afraid. Acceptance. Acceptance is no need to change anything, no judgment for good or bad. Is it just is and it is okay. It is beautiful as it is. I have and enjoyed everything as it is. This is the highest one. Here's peace. I am I am whole, complete, and total out onto myself. So awareness, boundless. This is like peaceful. If you zoned out, zone in back, because this is the most important aspect of this entire process. So there is a level, right? There's a scale of emotion, hierarchy of emotion, where one emotion is better than other, and at the bottom you have apathy. So if you're feeling grief, so let's say you're an apathy, you identified and labeled to be an apathy. Let's say you're feeling grief, you are actually doing better. If you're feeling apathy, there's no way you can directly feel courageous. There's no technique out there that lets make you feel this unless you take like drugs, and even then that would even probably give you like bad trip. So apathy is like the worst of the worst. But let's say you are now grieving, all right, you're doing better. However, you're not supposed to stop here. And let's say you're afraid, you're doing a bit more better. Let's say you're lust, you're doing much better than apathy. Let's say you're prideful, you're doing much better than lust. However, you're not here. And from here you need to like jump to courageousness. From here to here the distance is easy, it's shorter, right? It's easier to jump. However, from here to here it's super big and it's just harder to jump, right? So if you're in apathy and looking desperately how to end it, feel grief. It's better than feeling apathy. Once you're done with it and you're being with it and you heard what the grief has to tell you, because every emotion is trying to tell you something, right? Don't treat it like enemy. Don't treat it like, oh, I want this gone now. What can I do? frame to like have this gone. No, stay with it, be with it, label it, understand what it's trying to tell you, because there is a message that is trying to carry. So a more sophisticated emotional scale with more labels is this. This is from Abraham Hicks emotional guidance scale. So notice here you're like feeling fear, grief, depression. So you cannot directly go to passion. So you need to like, let's say you're feeling jealous of someone, is better than actually feeling grief. Believe it or not. And it's hard to understand, but this is what works, It's like you slowly make yourself, self talk yourself by feeling better. So out of all your thoughts, you won't have happy thoughts. So you're having thoughts of grief, sadness, depression. You'll only have these thoughts. There'll be little bit of insecurity and guilt too. There'll be a little bit of jealousy too. Choose that, all right, and stay with that emotion, jealousy. And among all the jealousy thoughts, there'll be like some thoughts of anger. This shouldn't happen to me. Some revenge, yeah. Tune into that. You're technically climbing. And once you're in revenge, don't go act, yeah. You have to like stay with the emotion. Don't think and don't like act. You have to stay with the emotion. Your goal is to get here. So with the revenge, you can like get angry, blaming, discontentment. What happened with me? I have this toxic cycle where I feel guilty. I think in Enneagram 7, 6, something, something, you'll be able to find out. But this is my personal pattern where I feel guilty, then I go to feeling angry. Then I feel guilty for feeling angry, then I go back down. And then I just do this loop over and over and over and over and over again. And the way I could escape this loop is I chose this emotion being hopeful. You need to be something that you're hopeful towards. You need to be something you're hopeful. So hope is a better, you say not optimism. Hope is like a better emotion than anger. Is there anything that you could be hopeful about? And you slowly talk yourself about it. So because you're here, if you're going to guilt, become aware of it and stop doing it. Because you know you're just going down and you're just going circles. So try to find thoughts that's true. Remember, you have to make sure it's true to yourself. You cannot lie to yourself. And there are some thoughts which are like you feel hopeful about. Yeah, you know what, this actually led to like a better thing. And I made a YouTube video on this concept a while back, so you can check that out, which I talk in a little bit more detail. But yeah, so you use this emotional guidance scale to walk yourself through the emotions or even understand what's going on. So it's a three-step process. You first identify the emotion, understand the emotion, what the emotion is trying to tell you. Third is you have to like find, okay, what is like a better feeling emotion that you can experience right now. And people often associate better feeling to be feeling good. No, in this moment, what feels better? Of course, you can't think anything happy when you're super sad, But feeling angry might feel a little bit better than feeling sad. So you have to like tune into that and slowly talk yourself through it. This takes some knack. It is not like I explain this and you get it. The more you use this, the more easier it's going to get, and the more you understand, your emotional vocabulary increases. Oh, I'm feeling guilty right now. I'm better off feeling angry. Oh, I'm blaming someone. I'm here. I'm better off just being frustrated with them. You know what I mean? And you'll be able to like talk yourself out of it. And if you understand this, and if you understand and resonate with this so far, then what you can do further is when you can use this in your communication. Where if someone is feeling guilty, you can't just encourage them by saying passionate stuff. So you can kind of like walk them through the emotional scale by yourself by asking questions, and they'll unconsciously just go in a better mode. And you can use this tool in communication as well. I hope this helped, guys. This is it for this video. I hope you like it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. Like, subscribe too, and yeah, bye.